application material that can be distributed to indoor gardens. Manufacture of greenhouses is another opportunity, and production of fertilizers, herbicides, and pesticides. And also the sugar packaging is one of the main ingredients in creating markets for our products. The way you package your product determines how much you can get out of it. In terms of manufacturing, I did mention earlier that one of the issues we're looking at as a region is textile and apparel. So that's one of the opportunities we have, production of steel, iron, and other materials, production of vehicle parts and components, in terms of steel, again, we are looking at developing of nucleus foundries to produce castings as well as in aluminum cans, steel products, iron bars, reinforcement bars. These are mainly for the construction industry. We have a lot of minerals which are being exported raw. How do we look at, how do we get maximum value out of our endowment, natural resource endowment? It only goes for value addition, and manufacturing is the way forward. We're looking at components, assembling of components of electrical equipment. There's no need of importing finished materials. We can't create jobs for ourselves. And it goes without saying that most of our countries have youthful population, and that youthful population needs jobs. So if we can engage in value addition, we would be at least creating jobs for our younger population. And I know I like quoting this. President Solomon says that when we export raw materials, we're exporting jobs. So we should stop exporting our jobs and create jobs within, and that will help us address the time bomb we have. You know, the more we have unemployed youth, the more we are exposing them to other vices that can cause insecurity within the region. There are opportunities in assembly of motorcycles and motor vehicles as well, and then we're also looking at production of plastic materials, telecommunication inputs and equipment. Again, yesterday, I think, or the other day, I recall one of the advisors talking about us DRC having all the equipment that is necessary, all the raw material that is necessary for development of the telecom industry, and also production of batteries and what have you. So we need to look at how do we add value to this. I've talked of assembly of vehicles and electronic equipment. There's manufacturing of chemical products, fertilizers, caustic soda, and as well as chlorine for purification of products that we produce. Say talk of dyes for our clothing. We also have opportunities in manufacturing of pharmaceutical products. I think as a region we import probably up to 70% of our pharmaceutical products, and yet the ingredients for manufacturing of pharmaceutical products are mainly within us, are available here, and they are from the forests and what have you. So how do we go into value addition for the raw materials, especially in the pharmaceutical industries? we should take advantage of our blessings. Beverages, packaging, again, I think we've touched on those. There are opportunities with producing those within the region. Infrastructure. We have opportunities in the infrastructure area. First is the construction of roads, bridges, and maintenance and rehabilitation of existing roads. We also have opportunities in extension of railway lines, rehabilitation of wagons, and as well as coaches. In terms of air transport, we have construction of airports, servicing of vehicles, managing of parks, and all those that come with setting up an airport, including catering services. We have a lot of rivers, but if you ask how many of those rivers are utilized as channels for transportation, I believe there are very few. How do we take advantage of that blessing? So we have opportunities in converting our water bodies into transport avenues, and it's cheaper to transport goods by water as opposed to other means. The water bodies are being mentioned there, but we're also looking at providing transport services within passenger transport services within the water bodies. ICT is one area that our youth can be employed. How are we going to take advantage of the existing opportunities in ICT? Say, for instance, outsourcing, business process outsourcing. We can have our youth set up business outsourcing facilities where our youth provide services to international companies based where they are within our vicinities or within our localities. Managing of logistics, e-commerce, teleconferencing, those are opportunities that come with ICT. Data processing, call centers, I've talked of those. Computer servicing, as well as data discovery facilities and data storage facilities. In terms of energy, we have opportunities in hydropower production, thermal power production, wind power production, solar power production for both domestic use and commercial use, biofuel production, manufacturing of transformers, switches, insulators, electricity, energy meters, ethanol gas exploration in some of the water bodies that we have. That also comes with opportunities for investment. In tourism, in services, and specifically we'll start with tourism. We're looking at setting up recreation facilities, setting up hotel facilities, developing of branding of our various tourist attractions, and creating packages to attract tourists, health and water sports, as for tourism, attract tourists. Also, we are looking at MIS, that is meetings, incentives, conventions and exhibitions. That is also an opportunity for investment. Healthcare, we are looking at establishing hospitals and other health units, establishing of testing facilities, doing research, and you remember yesterday we talked of centers of excellences, and there are opportunities in improving value in the health sector, especially manufacturing of drugs, equipment for hospitals, and even furniture. Then also provision of family planning facilities and services. In terms of education and human resource development, We have opportunities in setting up from kindergarten to universities. And I believe at least in East Africa, all universities have been, most of the schools have been, most of the categories of education or stages of education have been privatized, so the private sector is participating in those sectors. So there are opportunities in pre-primary, primary schools, secondary, vocational and tertiary schools, as well as universities, but also some production of scholastic materials, printing of scholastic materials. In the financial sector, there are opportunities in providing affordable financing for SMEs. We're also looking at insurance, deepening insurance, coming up with establishing facilities for agricultural banking. In most of the partner states, I think only one or two have agricultural banks, and yet agriculture is our mainstay in the region. But there are very few banks that consider agriculture, given its nature, being subsistent and also rain-fed. The other area is development of capital markets, and there is a gap in some partner states that have not yet, that do not have a well-established capital markets, and those are other channels that we can set up and also help the private sector raise money, but also help the private sector, individual citizens to invest, and there are some of the excess monies. We're also having opportunities in the housing banking sector. So, what are the bankable projects that we have received from some of the partner states? From Burundi, we received opportunities in promotion of peri-urban agriculture and exploitation. They are looking at producing vegetables and fruits, and they already have a project that has been developed, which is worth $3.8 million. They also have a project in production of essential oil and mosquito repellents, which is at $2 million. They are looking at reviving one of their tea companies, and they are looking at an investment of about $4.5 million. They are looking at production of biodegradable packaging materials, and that is estimated at $1 million. The Republic of Kenya, they have an irrigation project that they are looking at to produce livestock and fishery enterprises, estimated at that's supposed to be 5.1 or $5.2 million. Then they are looking at agro-processing, adding value to agricultural products generally, and they are looking at $120 million. They are looking at, they also have a project of worth $130 million. Some of these projects, a number of companies can come together and invest in them. Then Waterfront development program estimated at $189 million. Envy solid waste management program, which is estimated at $30 million. Rwanda has 3 projects. One is estimated between $10 and $12 million and $20 million to establish a hotel. Then they are also looking at $50 to $80 million to establish a 5-star golf course as well as residential villages or villas. Then also establishment of a lodge and things that can be turned into leather and other leather products. There is a project which is estimated at $750 million. Estimated at $15 million. They have projects for alleviation of poverty in the rural areas, where they're looking at encouraging the citizens to produce local chicken, but also engage in aquaculture. That is estimated at $9 million. There is also the issue of the renovation of the Tanzania Railway. I think this one will be a joint venture with the government, 360 kilometers, and it's estimated at $200 million. This partner represents to develop 3,278 hectares of land to agricultural production and production of crops. That is estimated at $2 million. Distributed. From Uganda, they have a project in development of fruits, estimated at $120 billion. They have a project in spinning, estimated at $24 million. We have a project in value addition, coffee, from the small-scale farmers, estimated at $3.6 million. We have a project to establish a maize milling plant with a capacity capacity of 100 metric tons per day, estimated at $50 million. They have a project in cassava industrialization project, estimated at $1 million. Then there's a development of a rapid bus transport system within the Kampala area. They're also looking at utilizing the waterways, utilizing Lake Victoria for transportation, and there is a project that is estimated at $18 million. They have a project on MIS at Entebbe to come up with an Entebbe International Convention Center, hotel and spa, a waterfront marine MIS. That's estimated at $85 million. They have renewable energy projects to utilize the geothermal potential, which is estimated at $42 million. They have a steel manufacturing plant estimated at $15 million. They have projects in gold as well, estimated at $30 million, and the development of IT BPO parks estimated at $300 million. These are just some of the investment opportunities that do exist. And for more information, I will share with you the addresses of the investment promotion agency in the respective partner states. However, it's not all rosy. There are some challenges as well. This is an issue of support to investments at the investment promotion agencies. Not all of them are efficient, so they need constant capacity building. There are financing gaps in terms of availability of money, but most specifically is the cost of borrowing in East Africa is high. In East Africa, I think the borrowing rates are 20 plus, so that makes money expensive. The infrastructural challenges, yes, governments have invested in roads, railway, but the infrastructure still can be improved. There's room for improvement of infrastructure. That's why earlier we said there are investment opportunities in construction of roads. There is also lack of adequate human skills. Yes, the young people are there, but they are not well skilled to handle some of these job opportunities. They need to be capacitated. We need to build their capacity to be able to have the necessary skills to produce. Yes, they're educated, but most of our education system does not impart skills. That's why we're looking at vocational training to create ready labor that is ready to go into the market and deliver to the needs of the private sector. There is limited R&D research and also limited innovations. Most of our business people mainly do copy and paste. They see so and so is doing this business, then they go into it, but they don't carry out adequate research to understand the business and also improve or innovate for that matter. Of course, on the parts of government, the legal framework is not as, we might have the documentation, but on the ground, the implementation is still slow. So there is need for both the government and the private sector to work together to up the implementation of the already existing instruments. What's the way forward? First and foremost, as a region, we operate in our continent. And now at the continental level, we are opening up through the AFCFTA. So as a region, we need to strategize. We need to be strategic in our thinking and empower our private sector to be able to compete with already goods coming from some of the already developed countries within the continent. We should also endeavor to come up with instruments that empower our producers, our investors within the region, through instruments like the local content policy. The local content policy to create avenues for easy procurement, especially for local manufactured products. We should also capitalize on the gaps that COVID-19 created and what is also being created by the crisis in Russia and Ukraine. We now need to take advantage of that disruption and grow our own production capacity. We need to look at import substitution. How do we undertake that to come up with our own products? We need to strengthen our institutions and help them be able to provide the necessary support that the private sector needs. We are already, as a region, have an industrial policy and strategy we are implementing, and this is geared towards creating an East Africa that exports value-added products, not raw materials. We need to implement our investment policy and strategy. We need to implement our PPP policy. Then we also need to expedite the local content policy. We need to expedite the development of an e-business registry and a buyer-seller platform. As the ESC, we've started an initiative, first of all, to ease sharing of company information. So we are encouraging business registries, the national business registration authorities or institutions or agencies, to come together and avail information through a platform, what we call the ESC business registry. So those countries whose business registration is not yet automated, we're encouraging them to automate. Some of the partner states have already automated so that they can seamlessly exchange information. Now that we are going into e-commerce, there is need for quicker cross-checking of information. Say, for instance, someone from DRC wants to cross-check details of a company they want to partner with or to do business with in Kenya. They should just be able to go to that query and get the details about that company. So we need to improve on information exchange. We also encourage investment promotion agencies to come up with one-stop centers so that the investor just goes to one location and gets his services or registration done within one location. And as a region, we shall continue negotiating, just like it was said in the previous presentations, as a block. We normally negotiate as a block. For instance, even the investment protocol, FCFC investment protocol, we have submitted as a block, submitted our issues as a block. Yes, I was talking of working together. As a region, again, we have a single guide. That is, if you go to the ESC website, at the bottom right corner, you will have the ESC investment guide. That will provide you with all the information that you need on business, how to do business in any of the partner states. So we would also request probably the investment agency from DRC to join us, provide us that information so that we can upload there on the website and we can share that widely with other partners and investors generally. Again, we have also a buyer-seller platform that if you also go to our website, right now it is still informational, but probably by end of this financial year, it could be transactional so that you can exchange byproducts through that platform and ease transactions and trade among especially the small and medium-sized enterprises. That said, Those are the contacts of the investment promotion agencies that we work with. We have the Kenya Investment Authority, we have Burundi Development Agency, Rwanda Development Board, South Sudan Investment Authority, but now it's a ministry, Investment Authority of Uganda, Tanzania Investment Center, as well as Zanzibar Investment Center. For private sector associations, we have the EABC, which is present here. We have the East African Chamber of Commerce. We have KEPSA. We have the Federal Chamber of Commerce and Industries from Burundi. We have Rwanda Private Sector Federation, Tanzania Private Sector Foundation, as well as Uganda Private Sector Federation. Thank you for listening to me, and I submit.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur Oumoussana Charles. Comme nous avons bien suivi, c'est un exposé très complet. Ça continue? Merci beaucoup, Charles. Nous avons suivi le brillant exposé de M. Oumoussana sur les vastes opportunités d'affaires qui s'offrent aux pays de la communauté de l'Est africain. Je pourrais parler d'une courbe en mathématiques, on parle d'une courbe infinie, une courbe exponentielle. Donc il y a d'énormes potentialités. Il nous a parlé du rôle que la communauté joue et pourra encore continuer à jouer, notamment en ce qui concerne l'encadrement des opérateurs économiques. Vous avez vu dans beaucoup de pays, il y a une autorité de l'investissement qui a été créée pour véhiculer les principaux projets, et on attend que les hommes d'affaires puissent mettre la main dans la pâte pour créer des entreprises, pour embaucher notamment la jeunesse qui constitue une bombe pour notre pays, avec cette ruée vers l'Europe, vers l'Occident. Alors, ceci étant dit, nous passons donc à la prochaine, plutôt à la présentation suivante. J'ai l'impression que le conseiller Jean-Claude n'est pas dans la salle, il n'a pas été annoncé. Alors nous passons donc au thème, le rôle du secteur privé dans l'intégration de la communauté de l'Afrique de l'Est, avec l'exposé de la représentation de la business community de la communauté de l'Afrique de l'Est. C'est avec M. Jean Bosco Kalissa. Jules.
Good morning, everyone. Bonjour. First of all, allow me to record our appreciation as EABC from our chairperson, Madam Angelina, who was supposed to be with us, but due to other engagements, was unable to join the delegation, but she conveys a very deep greeting to you. Indeed, I want also to record appreciation to the host country, the Democratic Republic of Congo, the people of Congo, for according us a very, very warm reception since we arrived here in Kinshasa till today. Indeed, our appreciation goes to the EAC Secretariat, the Secretary General, the Right Honorable Speaker, the judge, and the entire delegation who have provided for the 3 days, giving an insight in terms of the institution of EAC, what EAC does, and what they have been able to achieve. And my good brother, Charles Omusana, who has ably articulated the investment opportunities in the EAC in the various sectors of the economy. So in my presentation, I have 2 presentations, but this morning I wanted just to share with you what East African Business Council is and what we do. Charles ably mentioned that the private sector engagement is very clearly articulated within the treaty. You know, the treaty has 2 principles. 1, people-centered integration. 2, market-led integration or private sector-led integration. And that's where we position ourselves as the East African Business Council. We are the voice of the business community within East Africa, across the 7 partner states. I wanted also to give you key highlights in terms of where we are coming from and where we are and where we are going. First of all, we were established, EABC was established in 1997, purposely to foster the interests of the private sector in the EAC integration process. Our vision, very well articulated, is borderless East Africa for business and investment. We realize that these borders are not favoring us. We need to ensure that we always do advocacy to ensure that we promote borderless trade and investment, because some of the borders presents a number of challenges and obstacles. And there has been a very positive efforts, again, made by our partner states, but also by East African Secretariat, in terms of ensuring that there is seamless movement of goods and services across the EAC. And before COVID, the data, the statistics from World Bank does indicate that EAC was one of the fastest growing region in Africa, and even at the world level. Generally, 3 partner states were generally moving at the best rate in terms of growth, in terms of development, and that was primarily anchored on the private sector agenda, private sector driven integration. Our mission as an organization, we are geared to promote sustainable private sector driven growth, and that's where the opportunities, as Charles mentioned, wealth is created by the private sector. Wealth creation, prosperity is geared through the private sector engagement, private sector investment. So what we do, as I highlighted, is that we do conduct evidence-based advocacy research to inform our policy makers in terms of the issues, in terms of opportunities, in terms of the challenge. We also provide advisory services in terms of market intelligence, regulatory development in the EAC. We ably represent the East African private sector in the EAC policy formulation organs as well as institutions. As I mentioned, we've been doing a lot of work around addressing non-tariff barriers. These are barriers that impact business, which are totally different from taxes. Taxes are very clear; they are well enshrined in our acts. But sometimes there are other barriers that hinder businesses, which are not clearly articulated in our policies. So much of our work as EABC is how best do we articulate, how do we identify, and as I mentioned, we do research to show that while the intra-regional trade within the EAC has not been growing, these are the other barriers apart from those barriers that are clearly enshrined in our policy, including the tax. So we do a lot of advocacy around issues to address non-tariff barriers, issues related to trade disputes issues related to inconsistencies in the application of some of the tools that were ably highlighted by the team. And we do that through what we call high-level public-private dialogue. We do a number of business networking. As I mentioned, where I am now, we have already, as EBC, started engaging our counterparts in DRC. I was in the Eastern DRC in Goma. I've been in Bukavu. So far, we have a representative from Fédération Entreprise Congolaise, who are already our member of EBC. And we are engaging continuously to look at how we share trade and investment opportunities. Even despite that the accession was recently, but the business and investment community have been engaging, discussing, dialoguing, and that's what we stand for as an organization. So quickly, I wanted to share with you the structure of EBC. We have annual General Assembly. Of course, that is the supreme level. We do have executive committee of the board, of course chaired by the chairperson, elected on an annual basis. Currently, the chairperson of EBC comes from United Republic of Tanzania. It is rotation every 2 years. So now, once FEC is fully included, we are going to ensure that they are also part of the executive committee of the board. And again, I encourage the members here that we need to fast track the FEC inclusion in the EABC structures. Of course, we have the Secretariat, which is currently based in Arusha, Tanzania. But in each and every partner states, we have what we call national focal points. We have national focal points in Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi, Kenya, South Sudan. So that's how basically we are constituted. As I mentioned, the EABC has important strategic pillars. One of the pillars is, again, improving the business environment pillar. That's where we always advocate for an improved business environment, doing research, looking at fast-tracking our members, ensure that the business environment is properly articulated and is addressed by our policymakers. Again, we do have strategic networks where we engage key stakeholders, government, business, academia, and civil society. So that is a key pillar on our side. Again, we are a membership-driven organization. We don't get budget from the government. It is our members. So we need to do a lot to ensure that we address the interests and the needs of our members. So that's why we always create a value for our members in terms of the services we offer to our members. Of course, another component of pillar is our communication and visibility. We do a lot in terms of what we are doing to inform our members in terms of the opportunities in the ESCs, also in terms of challenges, but also in terms of strategic networks. Again, the key other pillar is how do we sustain our interventions. As I mentioned, we are celebrating 25 years of our existence, but we need to ensure that the issues, the opportunities are well articulated, are well organized. My friend Charles mentioned about bankable projects. So we need to see in DRC what are those bankable projects so that we enhance partnership. We bring the investors from DRC to work in their counterparts. And I'm happy in this room we have Equity Bank. Equity Bank recently, again, that's how the business community is working. Recently, Equity Bank has negotiated a facility of $7 billion United States US dollars to support the recovery of our economy and build resilience. But when we were discussing with Equity Bank, we said, where does that money go? 70% of that funds goes to small and medium enterprises. And the objective well aligned with EAC is to create prosperity within the EAC, but at the entire continental level. So we always, like EABC, engage not only Equity currently, we've also negotiated with Exim Bank. They have more than $2 billion US dollars to support the businesses. But sometimes the challenges we've been grappling with, what are those projects? Where are they? What are the viability of those projects? That's where we come as the ABC to support our members. These are the opportunities, these are the challenges, and these are the funding opportunities that are available. And I'm happy this evening Equity will be hosting a dinner, and I encourage some of our business people to be in that dinner because it is a networking dinner. It's not government to government, it's business to business. How do we work? How do we exchange cards? Even in this room, we've had a lot, how do we interact? I will share my business card, but it is important that perhaps we have somewhere where we can or drop our business cards. That is the essence of these engagements, and that's what we do as the ABC to ensure that we address the issue of information asymmetry among the business community. So as I mentioned, the focal points in each and every partner states. With the Democratic Republic of Congo, you can see already Fédération Entreprise Congolese is part of our member, and we encourage everyone here, all the business community and investor, to continue to work closely with the FEC because they are already engaging at the EABC level, at the regional level, and they will continue to have our different sessions on how best our business can take opportunities in the EAC. I wanted to again quickly highlight key priorities in our advocacy, as previously a number of experts from EAC alluded to the stages of EAC integration, the 4 stages of EAC integration. And in each and every stage, the private sector has a cardinal role, has an important role to play. When we look at the customs union, which was the first stage of integration, in terms of the tariff structure, the 4-band structure, EABC had a role to play in terms of understanding how those structures, tax structures, enhance trade and investment. It's not about creating structures, but enhance trade and investment in the region. Even at the continental level, as just mentioned, we are now fully involved in negotiating African Continental Free Trade Area. We are talking it is a market of $3.4 trillion US, with 1.3 billion population. How does the private sector position itself to take that advantage? And that's where we came in, and where we always come in as the ABC to provide inputs to the government when they are negotiating these protocols. Again, I always, and I think SG mentioned about it, EAC integration process is more on private sector led, and private sector is involved in all these stages. Go to common market, movement of goods, movement of services, movement of factor of production, including capital. I don't want to re-emphasize the point. I was looking at Equity Bank, the headquarters here. They have branches in each and every partner states. That is the spirit of the integration. How do we engage? How do we establish our business in each and every partner states? The restrictions have been removed. Regulations are very clear. How can I move? I know here there are a number of investors who are interested to go to do business in Rwanda, to do business in Kenya, but sometimes they don't have information on the business opportunities and how they can engage their counterparts in the region. And that's what we always address as the ABC. We always have, again, a key flagship projects. So with our partners, we have a number of donors, like Trademark East Africa. So far, they have their offices here in DRC. They have an office in Goma, and I think they also have planned to expand. But their focus mainly is also to facilitate trade. They believe that through facilitation of trade, you're able to grow prosperity, you're able to address poverty, you are able to ensure you achieve a sustainable growth and development. That is one of our key partners. Then we also work closely with International Trade Center. We work with the GIZ, that is German Development Corporation. We are currently also working with the World Bank in terms of investment climate facility and other instruments that are important to support the private sector development. I don't want to go into the achievements. There are an enormous achievement we've had. Again, as I mentioned, in terms of engaging the government, participation in negotiation, issues of NTBs. I will share with you the details. That one is not in the interest of time, we should not go into the achievements of ABC. They are many, they are enormous, they are visible, they are tangible. But what is clear, and the message I want to convey here, that we work closely with the ESC Secretariat, we work closely with our government, and the needs, the voice of the private sector, whatever is doing, is always represented. So, my last slide, again, I will be doing a detailed presentation this afternoon. This was just to give you a flavor in what EABC is and what our activities, but this afternoon I will do a detailed presentation on investment opportunities between ESC and DRC, which are very substantial, which are enormous, but can be enhanced since when we continue to do this kind of engagement. So with that, I want to thank you, moderator, for giving us the opportunity, and we will have more discussion. Asanteni sana. Merci beaucoup.
Merci beaucoup, John Mosco Kalissa. Il est directeur général, je crois que l'ami qui les qualités va bien le dire, East African Business Council. C'est quoi l'association des hommes d'affaires de l'Afrique de l'Est? Monsieur le modérateur. Interprète. Monsieur l'interprète, vous voulez me secourir? Non, merci. Donc, il nous a parlé de leur vision qui est basée essentiellement sur la promotion des affaires dans les pays qui se font, chez les hommes d'affaires qui sont membres de la communauté de l'Afrique de l'Est. Alors, leur but est d'améliorer l'environnement des affaires, et cela à travers le partage des informations entre les membres de cette association. Monsieur le directeur général, merci beaucoup et félicitations pour votre exposé. Je crois que les hommes d'affaires congolais ne manqueront pas de vous rejoindre dans votre association. Je suis très embêté, le protocole n'a pas annoncé l'arrivée du directeur général adjoint de l'autorité de régulation de la sous-traitance dans le secteur privé. Alors nous passons directement au jeu des questions-réponses. Il y a eu 2 exposés. Vous voudrez bien indiquer la personne à qui vous posez votre question. Nous avons au moins 20 minutes avant de passer au petit déjeuner. Lève la main. Avancez. On vous entend.
Merci beaucoup. Roger Makito, expert à la Direction générale des impôts de la RDC. Ma préoccupation est simple. Encourager les investissements au sein de la communauté des États de l'Afrique de l'Est nécessite également la mise en place d'une politique fiscale communautaire. Est-ce que la communauté envisage de mettre en place des incitations fiscales au développement? C'est ça ma préoccupation.
C'est une question qu'on pose à M. Sal Kouroussana. Je crois qu'on va directement de questions à réponse. M. Sal. pour répéter la question. Je n'ai pas noté, je m'excuse.
Merci, je vais répéter ma préoccupation, c'est-à-dire au sein de ma préoccupation est de savoir, au sein de la communauté des États d'Afrique de l'Est, est-ce qu'on envisage de mettre en place une directive unique ou une directive communautaire d'incitation fiscale au développement?
Maybe I'm starting and Charles continue on that. But from the private sector side, that is one of the key engagements we've been having. Under the customs union, the taxes are harmonized. We have a common external tariff. It's already with a four-band structure. A four-band structure, 0% is for capital goods and raw materials, 10% is for intermediate products, and it has been 25% on finished products. But recently, we realized that there are those goods that the region has production capacity, and the private sector advocated for a first-band structure to protect those goods where we have sufficient capacity. But there is another angle on domestic tax harmonization, which is also provided for, I think, under the common market, and Charles will talk about it. But the issue has been, again, countries have, like VAT, countries have been having varying rates. For instance, Kenya has been having 16%, Rwanda have 18%, and Uganda 18%. So our approach as the private sector has, can we harmonize the domestic tax rates? And I think that is the question of how, but the process is ongoing and the framework is there. What we need to agree is that those rates should be harmonized so that you don't give favorable treatment to one country, to one investor over the other. Those are the discussion the EABC is engaging. Even currently as I speak, I've contracted KPMG to look at what are those distortions that are created by varying rates. Because the economic theory purports that the tax rates having a varying VAT rates is not an issue, but the administration has been the issues and the application. So I think I can leave it to Charles to give more insight. But at the ABC, our members have said no. We need to also to ensure that the domestic tax rates need to be harmonized. We should have a same rate. For instance, on TVA. Which is one of the rates that countries have different or have varying rates. Maybe I'll leave Charles on that. But for customs union, already we have a common external tariff. Over to you, Charles.
Thank you, JB. I'll request my director to come and substantiate.
Merci beaucoup, M. Charles. Une autre question?
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur le moderator. The CEO has slightly touched on what we do under the customs union, but we also have different facilities that promote investment within the partner states, particularly in regard to manufacturing, because we have a schedule that provides for less duty rates that we call the duty remission schemes, exemption schemes, for those that are manufacturing different sectors. For example, we have under the motorcycle industry, motor vehicle, automobile industry, specific rates that the manufacturers of those automobiles, they do import raw materials at a reduced rate. We do have a complete schedule in the Act to input for any does have investment incentive law that promotes investment within the respective partner states. So what we are doing at a regional level, we are trying to harmonize those investment incentives that are within the partner states so that it can benefit the region. Now the schedules that promote investment in terms of areas that have
Merci, madame.
Merci. Non, non, ça va.
Bonjour, Monsieur Dia, je suis expert au ministère de la Justice. Je m'occupe de faire des... Mais je reste quand même un opérateur de développement parce que je suis à la tête d'un bureau d'études qui fait des recherches sur le développement dans la RDC et particulièrement dans la région du Grand Kasaï. L'Afrique de l'Est, c'est vraiment la bienvenue parce qu'il y a plusieurs projets qui sont en souffrance dans le pays, particulièrement ceux auxquels personnellement j'ai fait face. Au niveau sud de la RDC, Kasaï, un potentiel de production de ciment, une recherche qui fait pratiquement 4 ans, qui n'a jamais été exploitée, et dont les études évaluent à $275 que nous détenons. Et le problème d'énergie est de ce côté, électrique pour alimenter la cimenterie et l'unité de production. Alors, le grand problème auquel nous avons fait face pour la qui est une industrialisation, et c'est une industrialisante avec l'énergie électrique, ça permet d'intégrer la transformation non seulement des déchets de ciment, mais aussi le problème qui se pose là, c'est le management. Ici, le président a parlé de projet bancable. Oui, projet bancable, mais il y aurait aussi la formation qui n'a pas permis à ce que avoir une capacité assez forte pour pouvoir apporter un projet bancable de développement. Je voudrais savoir si le East African Communauté est prêt à accompagner la RDC ou les opérateurs privés peuvent banque les ramener au niveau de la banque pour permettre qu'on puisse matérialiser ces projets. On va entrer dans le vicieux. Celui-là, j'ai exécuté. Et le East African Communauté peut voir dans sa politique d'accompagnement pour le accompagnement dans l'élaboration, la matérialisation et l'encadrement des financements qui servent. Parce qu'un projet de $275 millions qui rapportera aux Congolais le retour sur investissement qui ne dure pas beaucoup. Parce que je vais vous dire qu'aujourd'hui, un sac de ciment coûte $35 en Bujimaï. $35 en période de crise. Ce ciment coûtera $100 que nous construisons. Je suis originaire de là-bas, je connais de fond en comble le et la RDC décide de prendre le ciment. On est obligé d'apporter le ciment à l'extérieur. Nous avons le potentiel. le East African Communauté, nous avons, j'ai entendu, au Kenya, il y a des projets de millions de dollars, oui, de 120 millions de hôtels spa. Ce n'est pas la raison que je fais, mais le East African Communauté a la capacité d'absorber ce projet-là, montrer, pour créer d'autres industries dans le secteur. C'est que on peut utiliser pour développer les autres projets. Il y a des problèmes d'infrastructure. De renforcer les unités de production. Et là, les 200 pourraient plus, je parierais sur le milliard. Parce que le secteur, la jeunesse, même dans et le potentiel de production. Voilà un demande. Est-ce que le East African Communauté est en mesure d'accompagner le porteur de projet à mettre ce projet dans le monde et de les financer? Sinon, vous aurez des bons projets, mais que vous ne serez pas financés. Voilà un peu la préoccupation. Merci pour votre attention.
Merci beaucoup. La question est posée à M. Siale Omusana. Cependant, M. Jean Bousso-Kali pourrait aussi intervenir pour dire si les hommes d'affaires comme adhérer à ces gens de la parole.
One, the answer that as the ESC don't support individual body, don't directly support a project. However, we have structures we can work with. For instance, in the our contact institution will be the investment or promotion agency. So those projects can go through the investment agency. We develop them through there. So when we look for funding, say for instance project, we channel them through a entity that will channel work with the sector at national level. Secondly, the other is probably EABC, which has a mandate to work with the private sector directly, can source for funding such projects and submit.
I appreciate the quality of the question raised by Didi in terms of the bankability of projects. And in my brief presentation, I mentioned that the reason we are doing the financiers like Equity, like Afro-Exim Bank, this is the Africa Import Bank. It's also to provide capacity building in terms of preparedness. We do have very, very vital projects across the region. But preparation, sometimes the bank says these projects are not well prepared. So in my first response is that we, as EABC, that's why we have engaged with the bank of the financing the that component in the terms of preparation, understanding the risk associated with these. So like for cement, when we look at the region, currently we have a strategy called we capital market. The capital domestic market meaning that if we work together, as a project summit is one of the one of the capability and capacity granted is production. But look at our import bill. Cement that we and yet we have inputs, we have all ingredients to produce cement. The what has been lacking is one is the investment that is required, $200 million. Some of our banks could not have they need to engage foreign funds, and some of the foreign funds sometimes say, no, the region is risky. So that's why we are engaged that under this investment with Equity and the Afrexim Bank, the risking company, the risking of the project, showing that we take because that project after the accessibility, how we risks. So that is our discussion with the effect in terms of de-risking these projects and ensure that these projects are well prepared, are well to attract. That's what we do. That is one good project that works and ensure that it gets funding. Otherwise, I want to serve the DA that question. Many of them are with fake and they are and they are interested. They are even here almost 4 million. But this we really know information that we quality discuss. Take it up. I will take that project with my community. Thank you very much.
Merci. Permettez de donner ma carte de contact.
Parce que c'est monsieur, vous voulez répondre.
Oui, merci beaucoup. C'est l'affirmé qui fait de la coordination des ressources. Je voulais aborder la question dans le même sens. Mais j'ai beaucoup plus dans les de PPP dans les publics. Tout à l'heure, l'intervenant a parlé de l'accompagnement de finances. Communauté. Nous pensons que le professeur doit également au projet. Le cas de ce projet de 70 000 $, la construction d'une usine de ciment, nous pensons que ça devrait entrer dans le cadre de CPP. Lorsque les États membres mutualisent leurs efforts à financer ces projets-là, afin que payer ces financements la puissance de la communauté. Et là, ma préoccupation, c'est de savoir ce qui prévoit dans la CAE, dans les cadres de PPP. Au niveau de chaque, il y a des lois qui sont prévues, mise en œuvre de ce projet PPP. Il y a déjà l'ordonnance qui est prise. Tout à l'heure, on a mis des gestions pour ces PPP, de l'unité PPP, qui vient de commencer. Et on va inventorier, si vous voulez, tous les projets PPP pour savoir comment ils sont en train d'être mis en œuvre. Et là, je pose la question de savoir que prévoit au niveau de la communauté par rapport à ces projets. Faudra-t-il prendre ou harmoniser tous les textes des pays membres par rapport à ce type de projet, ou alors chaque pays va aller selon ces textes? Voilà un peu. Et cette question est en train de rejoindre la préoccupation de tout à l'heure, parce que ce sont des privés qui viendront. Il faudra qu'au niveau de la communauté, que nous puissions d'abord regarder si on est à mesure ou pas de réaliser ce projet avant d'aller consulter d'autres partenaires sérieux qui viendront. Merci.
Monsieur Moussam.
Thank you for that question. Indeed, the ESC is finalizing a public-private sector partnership policy. We've done national consultations, we've done validations, and we are now ready to go through the approval processes by the statutory organs. However, given that the consultations were done with the other 6 partner states, there was no input from DRC because at the time of doing that, DRC was not a member. But indeed, all the other partner states do have PPP units or departments. Some have even agencies. So we did consultations with them, and they gave us the input. And already now we have a document that has been validated at the regional level, but it is yet to be adopted by Council as the EAC PPP policy. So I think there is room for DRC to submit their inputs and better and improve the draft, the one that we have, and then we come up with a regional PPP policy that incorporates input from DRC and submit.
On attend que la RDC puisse présenter sa proposition en ce qui concerne les 3P. Nous continuons toujours avec les questions-réponses. C'est notre journée, hein, les journées de nous, les opérateurs économiques. Donc on ne va pas forcer. Hein. Monsieur Charles, vous avez un mot à ajouter pour l'ensemble de toutes ces questions posées?
Probably just a general comment that I think once the EAC secretary comes to DRC to develop the roadmap for integration of DRC, some of these issues will be further elaborated and discussed, and where need be included in the roadmap.
Yes, Chair. I think it was yesterday when it was mentioned that we shall be developing a roadmap for integration of DRC. So that means we will make sure that step by step, what are we doing first and what are we doing last? So if it is to start with trading, for example, what is it do we start with? Is it like first sensitization and capacity building of the Democratic Republic of Congo private sector and government officials? That is number one. Number two, how next do we implement? Are our laws ready? So it will be a step by step. I am not sure of the period that DRC will require, but then after that period, we should be able to start the sensitization, to start making sure that we bring out all the regulations that we have for you to appreciate. And also, as put forward by Charles, there are some policies that are still being worked on. So it is an opportunity for DRC to give their contribution in terms of the researches or studies that have been done by other partner states. Then DRC would also contribute in that regard. Probably it will be a little bit delayed on implementation or adoption because we will need the input for DRC to be part. Those that were already adopted, you will still be given time to get ready to implement because we can't go back to maybe adopting the policies already done. So what will happen is we shall be able to have time, look at them, internalize, and appreciate where we are ready to implement, we implement. Where we are not ready, we request for time to put things in order for us to come at the same level of implementation by with other partner states. We say that the treaty is very clear. It gives an opportunity for other member states who are slow or who have not been ready to implement to take time to be able to maybe put in order their house and other regulations, so that at a time when they're ready, they can be able to implement. I will give another example. If there are manufacturers in this country, they will be given a time not to implement the common external tariff, as GB had highlighted, So we will be able to see at what level of manufacturing are these industries in DRC. Then they will be given different incentives for purposes of trying to ensure that probably they get at the same level as other partner states. So all those issues will be discussed during the development of the roadmap, and we shall be able to agree and see when and what do we need to do at what time. So that is what I can submit. Thank you.
Merci beaucoup. Hier, nous l'avions bien souligné que la RDC a pris un train en marche. C'est comme un étudiant qui arrive à l'université. On doit lui apprendre comment sont organisés les cours, où se trouvent les salles, comment sont organisés les jeux, les sports, ainsi de suite. Nous avons reçu, pendant ces 3 jours, une information qui nous manque, il faut se le dire. Et le président de l'Assemblée, le premier vice-président de l'Assemblée l'a bien souligné hier, que grâce au document que vous nous avez remis, maintenant nous allons étudier, on viendra pour vous donner nos propositions, notamment pour la question qui a été posée tout à l'heure en ce qui concerne les partenariats plutôt public-privé. Alors, ceci étant dit, je voudrais remercier M. Charles et John pour leur intervention de ce matin et pour toutes les personnes qui sont intervenues dans le débat, que nous allons suspendre pour le reprendre à 13h30. Et c'est le protocole à moi à nous dire. Le protocole. Contrairement au programme, le repas n'est pas prêt. Alors nous prenons une petite pause de 10 minutes, comme ça on reprend immédiatement. De telle façon que nous puissions consacrer le reste du temps à la fin des travaux au repas. Vous voulez intervenir? Ok. Donc, une pause, nous reprenons à... Attendez un peu. C'est pas. Je vais tout de suite reprendre. Hein? Oui? Il y a un petit peu finalement le repas est prêt. Donc on va se faire la santé. Merci beaucoup, bon appétit.